Hey, welcome back and welcome to another in our series, our Distance Kitchen series. I hope everyone's doing okay. Please do take care and stay at home. So while staying at home, let's cook well. And so today's going to be about stocks. So stocks are something that probably don't get made as much as they did back in the old days. You can buy them in the store. You can buy, chicken and beef base to be able to make a stock, or you can make your own. And I think you'll find the difference is pretty astounding. So we're going to start with the chicken stock. So I boiled this chicken here. Good hour and a half. It's falling apart good time, big time, right? And what I'm going to do is peel the meat off of the bone. We'll save it for a project. So what we're after is the bones. If you have to, and we don't really want the skin, but if it ends up in the bowl with the meat, we can pull it out later. It's not that big of a deal. So I'm just basically, see how it's falling apart pretty good because I had that chicken cooking quite a while. So one of the things about the stock is that the bones themselves give flavor and to a certain degree also texture. So it's different than water, right? This is particularly true with the beef stock that we're going to do later. I can show you some pretty cool things that we'll be doing with that. So basically it's a question, full out chicken breast, just pulling right off, boom, off we go. So all the meat's out of there, pretty much. Okay. I'll hold the rest of that. Okay, so now we got nothing but bone and cartilage. I'm going to take it and we're going to put it in a pot with water that we're going to boil. I've actually got another one in here already. I've got 2 chickens, so we're going to put that up there and set that up to cook. And we're going to add something else as I rinse my hands off. Working with the chicken, that lovely feel of what you say in Yiddish is schmaltz, chicken fat. So this is mirepoix, right? It's a French word, M-I-R-E-P-O-I-X. And mirepoix goes into stocks. Typically it's onions, including the peels, carrots. You see I didn't even bother taking the ends off the carrot, and celery. You can use other things. Don't use things that break up like potatoes, right? But some of this stuff would have ended up going into my compost, typically, but it can go right into this, right? So we're going to use a little bit of mirepoix here. Onion peels, garlic peels can go in there. It adds a little bit of a sweetness to the stock, and we put it in both in chicken stock as well as in beef stock. So we're going to reserve a bunch of it for our beef stock, which is a bigger deal. So I'm going to cover that puppy up. So we'll bring it to a boil, and eventually and bring it down to a simmer. I would say simmer it for 3 or 4 hours is best, and then strain it, and then skim the fat off. I'm going to give you a good tip about that when we get to the beef part. Okay, second, I'm going to make some beef stock, but I'm going to show you one reason I'm going to make it is we're making a soup today, making French onion soup, right? So it starts with onions. This was been peeled and cut in half, right? So you could slice this way and get these longitudinal pieces like this. But better for onion soup is to try to make rings. So you get these really cool rings, basically, right? So across this way, across the grain. I got about probably 4 medium-sized onions going on in there. And so what we do is we melt some butter, which I have already, and we add. I like to melt it down till it's kind of brown. You see, I've got some onions in here already, but if you cook butter gently for a while, it'll get to a different brown color, not black. You can do that if you do on New Orleans cooking, but brown, and it gives kind of a different flavor to the and look to the soup, right? So besides the onions, of course, because you know me by now, we got to go in with some garlic. So I've always got plenty of minced garlic on here. Round up on garlic. That's what I say. It's the Italian way. And then we take the onions. We're gonna Put those in the pot and let those guys saute for a while till they're soft. Then all you do is you add the stock, maybe some salt and pepper, and you cook it till the onions are soft, and then it's done. Hey, simple as that, right? So now meanwhile we're gonna make our beef stock. So this is a product that if you don't have in your kitchen, you really need to have. It's called parchment paper. Some people know about it, some people don't. So basically it's wax paper without the wax on it, right? But in the kitchen, restaurants, we use it all the time if we want to protect our pans. You can put it right in the oven with things, right? And so I like to use it to, it will cook things, you know, more cleanly, but also it keeps your pans from getting too awfully scorched up. So we're going to start with beef stock. Bones. Now, bones aren't all that easy to find. Here's some here that I was able to purchase locally at our inside farmers market. A lot of times they'll have them in butchers in the supermarkets if you ask for them. They're usually about $1 a pound. The best ones are veal bones. These are actually beef bones. I've used lamb bones also, but for making stock and for the sauce I'm going to talk about later. So we take the bones, put them on the parchment paper, and then here comes the fun part. It really brings the kindergartner out of me. This next stage, we get to paint. We have a pastry brush here, and we got some basic tomato paste, and we get to paint. Paint the bones, paint the bones, paint the bones. Yes, we go. Yeah, tomato paste. So why do we do this? Well, it adds a little bit of flavor, and also, more so, it's going to add some color because we're going to cook these in the oven for an hour or so until they get dark brown, or if you wait too long, black. Lord knows I've done that plenty of times. And so we'll all covered up with the paste, good liberal coating with paste. If you're real serious, you can turn them over after an hour and paste the other side and do them. I'm kind of lazy, so I just do this. So then they're done. So then they just go in the oven. They go in like a 375 degree oven for about an hour till they get brown. We'll pop those in. Oh, but you know how I roll by now, right? Yeah, because we got some bones that are already done for y'all. Yeah, we're prepped. We're totally prepped. Because in the restaurant business, it's proper prior planning prevents poor performance. You can put another P in there if you want, but this is a PG show. All right, so the bones look like this. See how they're browned up nicely when they're done, right? Then it's a question of taking these, put them in a pot with water, bringing them up to a boil, bringing them back down to simmer, and then honestly, a good 6 hours makes a good stock. 10 even, if you feel like cooking it the second day. We used to do it overnight in the restaurant. Funny, not so funny story. I forgot to turn it down to simmer once and almost burned the damn kitchen down. But they didn't fire me. That was good. So when they're like this, we're gonna take them and put them in a pot. Once again, I'll bring the pot forward for that. Pot shuffling. I've got a lot of pots in this episode, so a lot of shuffling going on. I'm going to go over here. So you don't really need a pot this big. I've actually got another batch going on in here, half a batch going on here, so we'll just put them in a pot. Off you go. And I know you know what else we're going to put in. We're going to put in mirepoix also. The one by that's some beef fat there. There we go. So, then we're going to take the rest of our mirepoix that we had before. All right, and we're just going to dump it right in there. And I'm going to add some water to cover. Put the lid on, bring it up to a boil. Then we're going to bring it down to a simmer in 6 hours, right? So what's really exciting, let's shuffle more pods here. What's really exciting is you need to scrape the fat off of it. Fat's not good. We don't want fat. You can do that as it's cooking with the ladle, or you can do the Warner, Chef Warner way, the lazy Chef Warner way. You can strain it, chill it, and do it tomorrow. So we're going to show you, and that's pretty cool. I'll show you how that looks. So this is one I made yesterday. Right? And voila! I love this color. I just love it. But you don't want to eat this. Well, unless you're really into fat. There are some recipes where you'd use it, but I don't think it's a good idea. So the cool thing is, look how it just comes up to the top. I get these little pieces of orange fat, right? And that just goes in the garbage. Plus, you don't have to pour fat down the drain that way. And there you go. A couple pieces left, won't hurt you. So at this point, our onions are pretty well sauteed. I'm just going to add the stock. It's about right. No measurements once again. You know how I roll. Just so it looks right. I'll put the lid on here, bring it up, have some final seasonings, and that puppy's done. All right, so here's something really cool about beef stock, right? So beef stock, I've got one of them cooking back here. I'll pull over and show you. This is one that's pretty much done. It's reduced. So if I keep boiling this down, a magical thing happens. You get a sauce that's thick. I'm not sure why they don't sell this sauce. It's a business opportunity for somebody out there. It's called demi-glace, right? So if you bring it down to it's about maybe 20% of its volume, right? So gently reduce it for a while, and you get something like this. Now, it'll be a little hard in the camera to see how this is actually thick, but maybe the spoon will show you. See how it's coating the spoon? So this is demi-glace, right? Now, why is it thickened? Well, it's because of the gelatinous quality of the bones. This is why real bones are better. They're more gelatinous. But it will reduce like this, and then you can take this demi-glace and you can make sauces out of it, especially for meat dishes. I'm pretty sure our next episode is going to be about sauces, so we'll be using some of these demi-glaces. So that'll be to be continued. Very cool stuff. No fat in it, right? And you can put all kinds of herbs and whatnot into it, right? So that I'm always very excited about. Okay. So I'll put that away, demi-glace. I'm going to turn on my oven here. So now we're going to be, the very final thing is we're going to be actually making onion soup. Maybe you've had onion soup gratinee. Sometimes you get it in a restaurant, it's soup and a couple pieces of bread and some grated Parmesan cheese over the top. That's not French soup gratinee, right? So we're gonna show you how you make that. So you've seen the soup, except for the little final salt and pepper that I would put in it, right? You could also put red wine in it if you're a person who likes to cook with red wine. That makes it kind of a richer base. Also, that makes it good. And then it's done. And then if you have bowls like this, which most of you probably don't, but these are the best bowls because they have this sort of steep sides. But you can make them in any kind of bowl, but the steeper the side, the better. Because what we're going to do is we're going to have soup in it, and we're going to have cheese over the top. Now, if you just put soup and cheese, I can tell you, because I've tried this when I worked in a restaurant, the cheese invariably is going to sink into the soup, and then you don't get the product that you want, right? So you use, to be able to keep that from happening, we put a couple of pieces of baguette bread and over the top, right? They cut up about like this. So it's actually better if they're a little stale. And if it's completely fresh, you might actually want to toast them a little bit because you don't want it to soak up. It's going to soak up that soup anyway, but it'll do its job better if it doesn't become totally soppy as you broil it. So we're going to put the soup in. We're going to put the croutons, we call them croutons, on, and the cheese, and then we're going to put it in the broiler. Right? That's the plan here. So I get my soup here. So to be honest, our soup that we're making is not done yet, but of course I just happen to have some onion soup on the stove here for you. So we'll lay that up. You want to do it till it comes all the way up to this lip. You know, don't cheat them. Don't lower it, or else you're going to get a saggy situation there. All right. Probably need 2.5 pieces. That seems like about right. So make sure it covers the whole top like that. And we take some Swiss cheese. I've tried making with other cheeses, but honestly Swiss works the best. So you want to get complete coverage on this. Usually it takes a couple pieces. These are kind of small. You can double up a wee bit. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to put it right in the broiler. This will take us a few minutes. I'm going to put the light on. So, the biggest advice about using the broiler is that don't go away. Because it'll not be done, then boom, it's done, right? So we got a couple minutes here. I've got an idea. I'd like to introduce you to my favorite sous chef. And here he is. This is Moko, people. Moko. Say hi, Moko. Say hi to the camera. Hi, Moko. Yeah. Moko belongs to the boyfriend of my camera woman, and he is such a treat to have around. I love Moko. I'm going to go wash my hands and then take a look at the soup. Still melting, not quite done. Maybe we'll take another quick break while we're in because I like to show off my kitchen a little bit. And normally I'm not a very organized person, you probably can tell that. But when it comes to my spices, I'm organized. So there you are. They're all in alphabetical order, all the way from allspice up to turmeric, all the way through, right? These are old artichoke art jars, right? We actually had this island built to order about 7 years ago. And the kitchen has serviced us quite well. And at our house, which we also call the 308 because it seems like kind of a restaurant sometimes. So let's take a look here. Almost ready. You want to get just a couple of brown spots on them when they're done. I'll get a couple of plates for them to land. So one tip I have about this is that if you don't happen to have a doily, which is a fancy piece of paper that people put under things, it's good to have a napkin or a couple. I actually was able to score some paper towels in all of this craziness. So we want to just put that down, and it keeps it from moving around on the surface. So almost done. All right. You okay, Moko? Yeah. Did you say Moko? Mocha says it's good. All right. So it's starting to brown up here. It gets a little crispy on the top, which is nice. These could go another minute or two, it'd be okay probably. So we're gonna take these and put them on there. French Onion Soup Gratinee, made with fresh stock at the 308. Well, we'll see you guys next time, and everybody be well and be safe, and bon appetit.